Hey everyone, David Horowitz here from Retrium. Today I want to give you 5 tips on how you can facilitate open conversation better. We often use facilitation techniques in retrospectives, but almost regardless of which facilitation technique you use, eventually there will be a free-flowing conversation. How do you facilitate effectively in those situations? Tip number 1 is to be comfortable with silence. Silence is awkward. You don't know what to do, but the silence also creates space for people to think deeper and for people who otherwise might not speak up to have a chance to pipe up and add their voice to the conversation. Tip number 2 is to invite people to participate. Don't force them to participate. I don't know about you, but I've been on the receiving end of this many times and it makes me feel very uncomfortable. It goes something like this. The facilitator, after a bit of an awkward silence, will say, "Hey, David, what do you have to say?" But I'm not ready to participate. I don't have anything of value to contribute at that time, and it puts me in an awkward situation. So instead of intentionally calling out an individual, create open invitations. Does anyone else have anything to add to the conversation? We'll create space for someone to pipe up who has something to say. Tip 3, monitor the group energy. Free-flowing, open-ended conversation is tiring. It doesn't matter if you're an introvert or an extrovert, eventually people will need a break. That might be for physical reasons, bathroom breaks, coffee breaks, or it might just be because the open-ended group conversation is exhausting and people would rather break out into one-on-one conversations for a moment in time. So monitor the energy and either give people breaks or split them into breakout groups to make sure the energy level is raised back up. Tip number 4 is to ask open-ended questions. So if there's some conversation happening, instead of asking a question that leads to a yes or a no, ask a question that leads to more additional insights. For example, instead of saying, "Will that work?" you could say, "Does anyone have any more ideas that they think might work?" Will that work is a yes or a no. Any new ideas is open-ended. And finally, the 5th tip is to remain neutral. As the Scrum Master on the team, this is particularly difficult because you have a voice and you're on the team and your opinion counts. But when you're in the act of facilitating, if you want to be a trusted facilitator, the team needs to know you're neutral. So how do I handle the need to both contribute and also to make sure that I'm neutral? I use something like this, a hat. When I'm facilitating, I'll put on a facilitator's hat so everyone knows I'm right now very much neutral and just facilitating for you. And when I'm ready to contribute to the conversation, I'll take off that hat and everyone knows now I'm like them and I have a voice and a stake in the room. I hope these 5 tips were helpful. There's a lot more like this in Chapter 3 of the Ultimate Guide. You can click the link below. Also, please comment and share if this was helpful to you. We're just trying to help people become better retrospective facilitators.